Elliott in Dallas.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Surprise,
Hey,
surprise.
Yeah. You guys got bad storms there, man. Really nasty storms.
Well, actually, it's mostly mist where I am.
You dodged a bullet.
Had a little bit of rain about 3 or 4 hours ago, but I'm looking at lightning off to the southeast. But actually, it seems to be far enough away. I'm not actually hearing any thunder. So, anyway,
good.
Hi there.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I tell you, I've had a bit of a cold today. I had activities planned for the day that I kind of had to back out of because I wasn't feeling well. So I did remember finally about 3 hours ago that I had some old Dayquil in the medicine cabinet, and I took that, and that helped. But I hope I won't sniffle and sneeze too much. But you may get some of that. But I don't feel too bad. Who have we got on the line here?
Well, there's of course me, Amy.
Hi, Amy. Hi, dear. Nice to talk to you.
It's nice to finally talk to you too.
Yeah, and who else?
Matthew.
Matthew. Greetings, Matthew. And?
I'm Berserk.
Spelled wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Who was that?
Berserk.
Sorry.
My online handle.
Okay. Which is what again?
Berserk.
Lizard.
Yeah.
Berserk.
Berserk.
Spell it.
Maybe I should spell it the actual way.
It's
Okay.
BerserK.
Oh, Berserk. Okay.
Yes.
Berserk. Okay.
Yeah.
And who else?
I'm JMB. I'm the founder of Toonami Squad and technical director of SWAT Sessions podcast.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jay. Is that right?
JMB.
Right. I think I warned you earlier that I'm on a cell phone that's not the greatest, so my voice is probably going to sound a little muffled.
JMB.
Yeah.
JMB. Okay.
Correct.
And then I am Mr. Shadow. That's what I go by on Twitter. So.
Hello, Mr. Shadow. Okay.
Hello to you too, sir. So it's an honor, man. So. Big fan.
So,
This
well,
is really awesome.
Mhm.
And who is that?
Yeah, thank you for doing this.
No, it's Emily.
Oh, you're very welcome. I know that this has been months in coming, so I hope the anticipation. I hope the actual event is not overshadowed by the months of anticipation.
I agree.
But I will do my best to answer questions and entertain you to the best of my ability.
This should be nice, short, and sweet. So, So I think
you all are a group of some sort.
Correct.
And
Yes.
What is
ToonamiSquad.com.
Say again?
ToonamiSquad.com.
Okay.
it's a fan site for anime on Toonami. It airs on Cartoon Network Saturday night.
Well,
yes.
Okay.
Adult Swim.
Yeah. Right. I've been on that.
No, we're well aware of that.
As a matter of
That
fact,
show, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and do you all know each other in person, or are you strictly an online pal?
I know Matt.
Okay.
We all live really far away. Like Berserk is in New York. Matt's in Florida. I'm in Virginia, outside of D.C., and JMB is in New Orleans. So.
And I'm in Michigan, of course.
She's in Michigan, right next to you. I know. It's Central Time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Love New Orleans. Love New Orleans. Been trying to get back there for years. Used to have a real good time in New Orleans.
So
what can I do you for, you guys?
So I think, I mean, depending on who wants to start out, I mean, I can make my stuff quite short. I mean, I wanted to kind of focus on your role in Attack on Titan, and when you do the voice acting work for Pyxis,
right?
Were you expecting the kind of the show being so heavily embraced in the North American audience? Because it spread wild. It was like a wildfire. Even people who didn't know about anime knew about Attack on Titan.
Yeah. I really was not familiar with it until Mike McFarlane asked me to play that role. And once I went in for the first session, he started telling me about it and how incredibly popular it was already. Whoops, we got an echo coming in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started, checking it out and looking it up online, and I was like, my God, yes, the world seems to be, chomping at the bit in anticipation of the English dub of this show. And so, yeah, it was. So I was delighted to find out that I was. Excuse me, that I had a halfway decent part in a really, really popular show. So, yeah, I was thrilled. And then once I started watching the show, I was also a little horrified.
You lived, though. You lived. I mean, that's an achievement right there.
Yeah, not
the first season, at least.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's really cool. I'm delighted to be a part of that. Yeah, you bet.
So my second question had to do with Fairy Tail, and I am a really big Fairy Tail fan, and the Makarov that you do is far better than the sub. So I was just wondering, for doing him for so long in the series, has it impacted you in any way, and what did you enjoy about voicing him or didn't like about voicing him, kind of like the pros and cons?
Well, I don't think there are any cons, really. I like Fairy Tail a lot. It's one that I earned in a different way. I guess I earned Attack on Titan by having worked for Mike enough times, and that he felt that was a good role for me, and I didn't audition for that. I did audition for Tyler Walker for Fairy Tail, and was delighted to get the part of Makarov, and I didn't really know anything about the show at the time I auditioned. That's been, gosh, how long have we been doing Fairy Tail? 4 or 5 years, something like that, maybe 5 years.
So you're going on for a long time.
Yeah, it's been going for quite a while. In fact, I don't know if you're aware of this. We're on a hiatus from Fairy Tail right now because we have almost caught up to the number of episodes that Japan has done.
Oh, I'm well aware of it. I'm heartbroken. I'm going through withdrawal of the Fairy Tail, of the weekly Fairy Tail installments.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long it's going to be before it comes around again, but I know it will eventually. But, yeah, I love doing Makarov. Just selfishly, because I'd like to have more work. I wish he appeared in a little more often than he does. It's the youngins that get all the good stuff.
Yeah. Have you seen any of the source material yet? Have you read a little bit farther in? Because it's on hiatus. Have you gotten curious? Because I have.
I have to admit, I have not.
Oh, okay.
I have very rarely looked at manga for the stuff that I've been in. I've looked at a little bit of the Detective Conan manga. That was the very first show I did, and I got a couple of the early mangas on that one and read them and enjoyed them. But as a rule, I don't look at mangas for stuff.
And did that help you? Do you see it that helps you in a way? Did you prefer? Is this a preference that you find it more rewarding to do it one way over the other?
I don't think so. I guess we'd already been doing Case Closed for a while by the time I picked up the first manga. I was really just interested to see how it compared. you know, with the early episodes that we did of Case Closed, and those when we were first working on it, we called it Detective Conan too, like the Japanese do. It wasn't until it wasn't until maybe almost a year after we'd started working on it that we found out that they were going to call it Case Closed. It was interesting to see how essentially a comic book translates to the screen, you know, and I thought it was actually pretty, it seemed to be pretty faithful, as I recall. This has been quite a few years ago now that we did this, so my memory is not fresh. But I enjoyed reading it, but I don't think it affected me. I pretty well had the character set in my mind and in my voice by the time I got looking at the manga.
Interesting. Has anything changed? Because you've been in this industry for a long time. Has anything changed that you noticed when you first started to, you know, like we've talked to, I think, Sonny Strait, and he mentioned how before in the early days they tried to Americanize it, where now they keep more of the originalness of it, but kind of gauge it towards the American audience kind of thing, where they change a little bit, but they stay more true, and they don't change that much. They do, it's like a nice finesse. Have you noticed anything like that as a progression of your career?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, just basically what you said, what Sonny said. When we used to joke about the Americanized names a little bit, and the fact that Case Closed took place in what we called not Tokyo, you know, and Ron was Rachel, and what was Richard's name? Maury. Anyway, and now that's all gone away. Apparently that was important to some people back then, and it's not anymore. Yeah, we pretty much always use the original Japanese names now for stuff. Trying to think. I don't know if I'm not exactly sure where the transition period was there, or if it was a kind of a sudden decision. I wasn't really that conscious of it when it happened. But yeah, I mean, basically everything we do now is the original names from whatever the Japanese did.
I actually prefer it greatly that you keep all the names and stuff, because I mean, for instance, like Attack on Titan, the names are kind of like Germanic kind of things, and if you change it like to, you know, an American one, if you change it, I mean, depending on how the author and the person who wants it, like in the source material, I like it personally like that. I don't like it when they kind of change it up, because there's no need kind of thing, you know.
It gives it a different kind of feel. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
One thing that's developed in the last maybe couple of years, and I think it started with Space Dandy, is broadcast dubs. That's a relatively new invention, that we record something that actually is available within days. I'm kind of stunned at that. You guys know Space Dandy?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Huge fan.
I think that was the first broadcast dub show at Funimation.
Well, yeah, actually, this is what I was going to ask you about broadcast dubs.
Yeah.
Transitioning.
Yeah, good transitioning. On that, what was it like for the simuldub?
Well, it's, you know, in a way, it's the same kind of process. What was interesting for us working on Space Dandy, this was Zach Bolton's project, and he was explaining it to me when we first started, and I didn't quite understand what was going on, but I sort of got with the swing of it after a while. That he didn't know any more than I knew what was coming, and in particular, you know, we spent a fair amount of time on the very first episode trying to nail down a voice for the narrator, And he had his own ideas, and I had some of my own ideas, and we kind of kicked those around for a while. We didn't have a whole lot of time to experiment, but we finally got something that he was fairly happy with. But of course, neither of us had any idea, and I don't think in Japan at that point they had any idea how the series was going to end. And I don't want to. If anybody didn't see the last episode of Space Dandy and doesn't want it spoiled, put your finger in your ears for a minute. But none of us had any idea that the narrator turns out to be God at the end. Oh my heavens!
Which is a pretty funny twist.
Yeah. Oh, indeed.
Very important character.
And and Zach and I were laughing about that when we recorded that last episode. We were going, if we'd known this from the beginning, maybe we would have taken a slightly different tack with the narrator from the beginning. Because as I recall, I was kind of suggesting to him, that we do a deeper voice, that sort of, in a world kind of narrator voice, and he was going, nah, I really don't want that. He wanted pretty much almost my normal voice. It was pretty much my regular voice as the narrator. He's going, yeah, and so by the end of it, he's going, yeah, maybe if we'd known that at the beginning, we might have gone a different way with it. Because the Japanese narrator, of course, was this apparently a very, very well-known older man, well known with the beautiful voice and the golden tones and all that kind of stuff, and that wasn't the way that Zach wanted to go with it, and they were happy to let him persuade them that was what he wanted to do and to go with that. But yeah, we might have gone a different way if we'd known. But that's broadcast dubs. That's the biggest difference is you don't know what's coming. You just kind of have to fly by the seat of your pants to a certain degree.
So was it in any way rushed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, there wasn't a lot of turnaround time. Yeah, I mean, he would get the material in, and I don't know the exact schedule, but yeah, it wasn't like we could, put it off for a week or two or spend a week, working on it. Yeah, it had to get done and turned around and sent back to Japan for approval in pretty short order. So it's not like we were scrambling to get through recording sessions, but there was no wasted time. And in fact, I remember, I remember calling him after we did our very first session. And I remember calling him because I'd been thinking about it afterwards. And I called Zach that night and said, hey, I think I've been thinking about this, and I think that we might try a slightly different approach with this. And what would you think if I came back in like on my own time and we tried it a slightly different way? And he was going, "There's no time, man. There's no time. I have X number of sessions over the next 2 days with these people, and it's all got to get done. And by Thursday, it's got to go." I was like, "Oh, okay." So, yeah, so there was that kind of rush on it. Yeah, there wasn't much fooling around time or let's try it a different way.
But yeah, Space Dandy is really popular. What's awesome is that we got the premiere before Japan aired it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they ran within 24 hours each of each other, I believe.
So technically that was a world premiere every week.
I guess that's right. Yeah. Yeah, kind of cool.
Very cool.
For me, it was
and I loved
at the time.
I loved being on 2 shows back to back on Adult Swim, doing Space Dandy and Attack on Titan were back to back for a while.
Absolutely.
That was so cool.
Oh yeah.
And they were big shows. They're big shows. So I remember.
Yeah. Fan favorites.
Popular. Yeah, very popular. Yeah, that was a real kick. I made some hay out of that on my Facebook post.
Well, now it seems like Funimation has basically made an industry of all the simulcasts and everything. It's becoming, prevalent. If you have the Funimation subscription app, I mean, you can see a whole list of, simul dubs now. It's kind of getting mainstream, so to speak.
Apparently so, yeah. Apparently so.
Do you think that's a positive turn, or, it might be a little off topic? Do you think that's better than kind of the...
Than the old system? I don't know. I think there's a I'm not sure of all the ins and outs of why they went to that system. I know one thing is that it's a way to help prevent piracy.
Absolutely.
That there really is no time for somebody to get their hands on, a Japanese version and do their own, fan dub or something like that before it goes on the air, before it gets out there. I don't know if that's the main reason that they're doing it that way, but that's certainly one reason that they're doing it that way.
What I thought about was, I thought they were doing it because they could capitalize on the popularity of the sub show, like when it premieres, and then the people can transfer to dub. Kind of it's a smoother transfer rather than waiting for it to come out on DVD or, spending a period of time. It's kind of like a shorter time span. If you like a show, you can go right to a dub. So that's what I really loved about it.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. You are probably right about that, but I don't know. As far as the recording process goes, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. See, it's pretty much the same process. You got a script in front of you. You look at the clip. You read your lines. You watch the clip. You read your lines and try to match the flaps. It hasn't changed the process that much. But I was certainly. What was the show that I worked on for Chris George? I can't think of the name of the show right off the top of my head, but it was 6-8 months ago, something like that, and we did this sequence, and I was playing this character who had kind of a dirty old man, kind of foul-mouthed, and by God, if 2 days later somebody didn't write me on Facebook and say, "Oh, I love your character with that line," he said that funny kind of raunchy line, and I was like, "What?" We did that day before yesterday. That was a real shocker. So I'm starting to get used to that kind of thing now, but that was such a surprise the first time it happened.
So, Berserk,
Amy, did you want to go?
Who's up next?
I just wanted to ask you a question. Mine are pertaining toward One Piece and your character, Whitebeard. How does it feel to play the strongest man in the world?
Well, let me tell you about Whitebeard.
Let's hear it.
Never have I waited so long to play a role that I was cast in. I auditioned for that show something like, oh my God, now going back 6 years, 7 years, something like that, at least 6 years ago. And did one episode right away where he just had a very brief scene, and like within a week or two after that, we did a video game where I played Whitebeard.
Oh, I bought that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I wound up waiting about 5 years. So
he doesn't appear very much, but when he does, it's powerful.
That was it. I guess if he hadn't been in one of those early episodes, just for that brief, brief scene, and I don't even remember what the scene was. It's been so long ago. It's like maybe it was Whitebeard and Ace or somebody. And I thought that meant that he was going to be in it regularly, and I was told that this was a major character, and he had his, he was like the strongest pirate in the world, and he had his own crew, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I thought, great. And I kept waiting and waiting, and I would, every once in a while, I would say to somebody, is Whitebeard ever going to show up? Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you're going to have to wait for a while. Well, like, how long am I going to have to wait? Well, Right now, it's about 250 episodes.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
That was going to be one of my questions. Like, I thought maybe they would, because your voice is so consistent. I would have thought that maybe, you know, since it was such a long span, maybe you wouldn't be so sure about how to voice him again. I thought maybe you recorded all his lines in one go, but it's interesting to hear that you had to wait years to voice him again.
Literally years. No, I think, you know, we finally did this. Whitebeard finally came around last year. I guess was it towards the end of the year, maybe summer.
I think it was like August.
Yeah, something like that. And then I'm trying to remember now. I think they still had the. They had to have had a reference for me, because I knew it was a deep voice, but they wouldn't have expected me to remember exactly what I did 5 years ago. So I'm sure that they had a reference from it, maybe even from my original audition for the role, but certainly from the first episode that we did, that they could play for me. And I would go, oh yeah, that voice. Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Oh my goodness!
I've been doing this. I've been doing this so long, and I've worked on so many different shows that, and sometimes you go. You don't usually go years between sessions, but you often go months between sessions. And even for the ones that I've done somewhat regularly, you know, particularly if I've got 2 or 3 sessions in one day, and I'm doing voices that are maybe not really wildly different from each other, I'll go, hey, you know, I was just doing Pyxis for the last hour. Remind me again what the difference between Pyxis and Makarov. Actually, I'm pretty good at Makarov now, but stuff like that. Yeah, so they're real good at keeping old recordings to use as a reference, so they can play you and go, oh yeah, that voice. Okay, I can do that. So.
You just turn it on and off, like it's just like that. I mean.
Well. Yeah, more or less. You know, it may take a minute to kind of get the nuance. If it's a nuanced voice, if there's a lot of voices are fairly straightforward, but a lot of them have a little more nuance to them, and we kind of have to remind me. For instance, some of the if they play 2 or 3 references, one of them might be real quiet, one of them might be yelling. I think when we did Pyxis. You know, one of his major scenes where he's standing up on top of that wall and speaking in a very loud voice to the hundreds and hundreds of people down in the square down below. And you know, we used that voice a time or two, but then it was a lot quieter voice. So sometimes there are some variations within the same voice, and you kind of have to adjust them depending on what the scene is and who you're talking to and how many you're talking to and what the general attitude is. Is he mad? Is he, you know, trying to get something from somebody? But I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have one other question. Is there any particular reason why we don't hear you in more video games? Because I would think you would play an excellent, like, ex-Army general in, like, Call of Duty or something. You just have such a powerful, strong, grizzled voice.
I'll be a Pyxis. I mean, that's a great example.
Yes, exactly.
From your mouth to God's ears. Well, they don't do Call of Duty in Dallas. I guess that's probably that's certainly one reason.
Right. L.A.
Probably L.A.
Most likely. I would think most likely. There are video games that get done here. There's a company or two in Dallas or in the area that do video games, and I've worked for them a time or two. More than a time or two, I guess. But yeah, I'd love to do more. I certainly would love to do more. For one thing, video games pay a little better than Funimation does by the hour anyway. And they're fun. You know, it's a different kind of thing.
I bet.
Is there any title, like, in particular that, like, I don't know if you play video games, but, you know, is there any title that would stand out that you might have seen on TV, like, oh, I really wanted to do that, or you found interesting?
Oh, gosh, I can't think of one. I don't do video games much. I don't have an Xbox or or a PS whatever or anything. I have an iMac, and I have some games that I play myself on my iMac. But I don't have any of the gaming, the platform games, stuff like that.
Well, yeah.
So I'm kind of out of it in that way.
Well,
but yes, I would love to do more video games. Bring me more video games. I love
We'll
it.
try.
We'll
try.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, there is a new Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse game coming out, I guess.
Captain Ginyu.
Yeah, I did. I did some more Ginyu on a Dragon Ball game.
Yep.
Not too long ago.
Xenoverse, dude.
Yep.
Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
And Xenoverse
Yeah,
2 is coming out.
I think that was the name of it.
sequel.
Yeah, Captain Ginyu was fun. I like playing him.
He's nothing like any of your other characters. He's nothing like any of your other
Nothing at all.
character.
Yeah, no. In fact, I think he was probably closer to Richard Moore than anybody else in anime. Just because he's got a huge ego.
In that voice, though.
Huge ego and total idiot. I love
That's why
that.
it's the comic relief that you needed so desperately there.
Yeah.
And then the frog.
absolutely.
Going into the frog was priceless.
Yeah.
That was priceless. The talk and everything, and then the frog. So,
I love that. Yep, I love that. That was great fun.
Would you like to play more like those, like those roles, kind of like a little switch me up from the Doc Pyxis and Makarov, Whitebeard? Do you like those, hidden gem kind of things?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. One thing I really love about doing Funimation is that there really is. I played a wide variety of characters and a wide variety of types, and I love that. I love going in, and many times I'll go in and I have no idea what I'm called in for. Because in the old days we used to audition for everything, and I've been there long enough. I've been there over 13 years now, and so I'm to the point where I really know all of the directors pretty well. I've worked with all of them for years. In some cases, all 12 or 13 years that I've been there. Mike McFarlane I've known all that time. Chris Sabat I've known all that time. So these guys are less likely now to call me into audition, although even they will call me into audition every once in a while. But more often than not, I get called in for something for Mike, and it's something where he's just cast me. Oh, this is a good role for Bruce. So they call me and they say, is Bruce available on such and such a date for 2 hours? And I go, sure. And then I find out what it is when I get there. And I love that. It's fun.
Well, if you look at all the shows you've been in, you've probably been in every single genre that is in existence almost.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Maybe, I don't know that I've done any, real little kids anime stuff. What was there? There was something Lollipop.
Yeah, I don't think any of us would know about that one, but yeah.
Yeah, there's little kids shows. There's little kids shows that turn up every once in a while, and I don't think I've done any of those, although I hear about them from time to time. But yeah, I've run the gamut from just out and out crazy wild ass comedy to really dark, bloody, gruesome, stuff that I kind of have to hold my hand over my eyes a little bit when I watch.
Yep.
Any of you guys ever see the show called Shigarui by any chance?
I watched some of it. Gruesome.
That was one of my favorites in a way, just because I thought it was particularly beautiful and particularly cinematic. It was one of the most cinematic animes I've ever done, and I thought it was beautifully done. But my gosh, it was grim and bloody, and just woo. You just kind of have to hold your breath and go, okay, I'll do this, but I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah.
You're like, afterwards, can I get a kids show, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I needed a shower after a couple of those episodes for sure.
I have to say that it was hard to watch, but yet you couldn't take your eyes off it because it was so cinematic.
Yeah, it was so. It just looked like a movie to me. And I don't usually feel that about even the good anime stuff, but boy, that one was just. It was like watching great Japanese cinema, as far as I was concerned. Yeah, I was proud of that, but not everybody's cup of tea.
Wow. That's so
So I think
Okay,
Amy
do you have any questions?
Yeah, it's the last one. Do it.
Take it
So
away.
who's that?
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Take it away.
Okay. I'm sure other people are curious. How did you get into acting?
Oh. In the 3rd grade.
Oh wow.
I was homesick from school one. Yes, you want to know how I got into acting? It was my very first role. 3rd grade, I was homesick from school one day. I came back to school the next day, and I should say I had the prettiest little soprano voice of any of the boys in my class. And I came back from school, and our music teacher, because in those days, at least in Texas, we had a music class for half an hour every day. Can you believe that?
Oh wow.
And our music teacher had cast me as the lead in the Pied Piper. And we did a maybe 30, 40-minute version of the Pied Piper of Hamelin for a stage performance one morning or a couple of mornings at my elementary school. And I got cast as the Pied Piper. And that started my long and checkered career as an actor.
The music teacher knew. The music teacher knew.
I guess. Well,
career.
It was really because I had a really nice singing voice as a little boy, and I had a very accurate voice. My ear for pitches was really good, so I think I got it because of music more than, that she thought I would be a great actor or anything like that. But seriously, I got into acting when I got to high school. I was in the drama club at high school, and I got cast as a lead in a couple of one-act plays, and I played the title role in the senior play my senior year in high school, which was Father of the Bride. So I was the father of the bride, and so I got really interested in acting by the time I got to high school. And in college, I wound up majoring in theater. And by the time I was out of college, really before I was out of college, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So,
Cool.
What are we hearing?
I don't know.
I think it's a fan in the background in Louisiana, the old Louisiana fan.
Oh, are you at Pat O'Brien's getting drunk?
I don't think he's of age. I don't know, maybe. So I hope not.
I miss New Orleans. I got to get back here. It's going way too long.
Well, it's different, man. It's different now.
So that's my acting story. I got out of college and I started doing community theater in Dallas right off the bat, and that was 1973. I wound up joining Actors Equity Association by 79, and I have been a member of Actors Equity ever since. I've done lots and lots of stage. I've done more stage than anything else, but a little bit of TV and a little bit of film and this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's been that's the shame of my life, is that I'm an actor and that's what I love to do.
Oh my God!
What is that?
It's a fan. Hold up. Good Lord. Hey, boss. Boss, you're gonna have to mute yourself. All right. So, I think there's one more question about Samurai 7. If Amy, I think you have one more question.
Oh, I'm.
Well, it's not to do with Samurai 7, but I do love the show.
you can have me until, what time is it? You can have me do up to another 20 minutes. So if you want to wrap up sooner than that, that's fine. But you got me for another 20 minutes.
Okay.
Something about Samurai 7?
I think Amy wants to do one more, and then we have a Samurai 7 question.
Okay. Can I do 2 more?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Go ahead.
As many as you want.
No problem.
Okay, cool. Okay, if there was like any advice you give to your the younger version of yourself, what would you give?
Well, I didn't understand that. Say that again?
If you were able to give advice to your younger self, what advice would you give?
Oh, advice to my younger self. Go into banking.
Investment banking?
Nah, not really. Yes, I do have some advice for my younger self. Start a savings account, you idiot.
No.
Start a savings account as a young person. Oh, my God. What a difference that would have made in my life if I had done that.
We got credit cards. We go through those fast.
Oh, man.
That seems like really sound advice because I started a savings account and I'm having to dip into it recently because I have like a lower wage job than I used to. And a lot of my money's been going to like paying health bills and stuff like that. So yeah, that helps me a lot. So I'm still above the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't advise you on that. But that's a tough one. But you know, the whole deal with a savings account, especially when you're young, it revolves around the wondrous world of compound interest.
Mm-hmm. That format, the wonderful formula of compound interest.
Oh man, you put $10 in the bank, and 40 years later, it's magic. What compound interest does.
You just got to make sure you don't touch it.
That's the other thing. Get a savings account and don't touch it. Keep adding to it and don't touch it, and you will be stunned at how much money you can acquire by the time you really need it. So yeah, that would be my advice. That's something I wish my parents had known for themselves. They were both from wonderful families, but very low income families, and we never learned about savings accounts. I think I had one for about 10 minutes that I started in elementary school, and my folks didn't insist that I stay with it, and I didn't, and I regret it to this day.
Okay.
As far as career goes, I think I might have joined Actors Equity a year earlier than I did. I had the opportunity to, and I didn't. But other than that, I've kind of lurched from one thing to the next in my own sort of clumsy way, and have been pretty happy at that. Not always, but I've had a chance to do a lot of great plays and a lot of good roles, and I wish I could have made a little more money at the game of acting for most of my life, but overall, I think I'm pretty happy with the way things turned out. I'm really glad that voice acting found me. That's been a real blessing and a boon in my life. I got sent on an audition back in 2003, which turned out to be for Case Closed, and here I am talking to you guys 13 years later.
Yeah.
After hundreds of things, hundreds of roles, big roles too.
Mm-hmm.
Not that many, but I know I'm up somewhere around, I don't know, 175 shows or something like that I've worked on.
Wow.
By far most of those are bits, are maybe a day's work, maybe not even half an hour's work, but in there were enough good stuff that I'm pleased with my voice career. I've gotten to do some fun stuff and work on some fun shows and work with great people. I really, I love working at Funimation. I really love the people I work with. I love all of my fellow voice actors, the ones that I know and have gotten to know over the years. Voice actors are good people. Actors are good people in general. And the engineers and directors that I've worked with are great folks. You know, I love going to work at Funimation. I wish I could go a little more often.
At least you don't work at a gas station.
Mm-hmm. You would always do that.
Yeah, well, never worked at a gas station, but I promise you, I did plenty of other things along the way. I was a mailman. I was an ice cream man for a week. I've mowed lawns. I've waited tables. Listen, you name it, I've done it.
Jack of all trades.
I've witnessed some scary stuff. All that.
Basically, by necessity.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've done all sorts of things. Not so much in recent years, but I did it all when I was coming up through the ranks, I assure you.
Hmm.
So,
Do you have another question, Amy?
Do you prefer acting on stage or voice acting?
Well, they're different. You know, it's a different animal. Although they have some things in common. I've spent a lot of years as a stage actor. As I said, I started in high school and got really serious about it in college. So that's quite a few decades as a stage actor. And right now, I'm not able to do stage because I am essentially a full-time caregiver for my elderly mother, whom I live with. And about a year and a half ago, I kind of had to say I really can't do theater anymore for a while because I need to be home to take care of my mom. I've been living with her about 15 years, and I was doing theater all that time up until last year. She's in her late 90s now. I'm old, you guys. Yeah, and like last year, I got cast in a show that was going to be done in November and December, but they cast several months early. They cast it like in, I don't know, like maybe early July, and by late August, Mom had fallen in the house several times over the course of a few weeks. And fortunately, I was there every time, and she was not seriously hurt any of those times.
Thank goodness.
But after the third or fourth time, I was like, you know, I really can't afford to be away from the house for 4 hours a night for 6 nights a week for 6 or 7 weeks. I just can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I do miss that, and I hope I will have a chance to get back to it at some point. But I gotta say, voice acting is very satisfying in a different way. I mean, I still get my acting chops. I still get to play different characters and feel different things, and you know, sometimes it's superficial and silly, but sometimes it's more serious and goes deeper. Is there anything we can do about that echo?
Who's echo? I think it's a fan, like yeah. It seems like a whatchamacallit, a house fan.
It's nothing from my end.
Yeah.
I'll live with it. It's okay. It's okay.
We apologize.
That's all right.
Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different animal in some ways, you know, but in some ways I like it better. You don't have to. You don't get the immediate, you know, you don't get the applause. You don't get to go out and take a bow at the end of the show. But you also don't have to memorize a lot of lines. You know, you go in, you do the work, and, you know, 2 hours later you're done. I kind of like that, you know, actually, and by figuring just, you know, pay by the hour, voice acting pays a lot better than theater does, even for equity actors, at least in Dallas. If I was in a Broadway show, that would be a different thing. But the way theater pays in Dallas, and it's not bad in Dallas, but by the hour, I make a lot more money in anime.
Do you like the convenience? Do you like the convenience of the voice acting over the acting? I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting the vibe of, the convenience rather than, like you said, it's a bigger commitment to go on the stage, learn lines.
Yeah. Like I say, I miss the stage. You know, I miss. Actually, I do kind of miss playing off of other actors, because 99.9% of the time when we're recording on an anime, I'm in the booth by myself, and maybe I've got a scene with somebody that they've already recorded, so I get to hear his or her voice if it's like a two-person scene. But just as often, I'm the first person recording, and I've got nobody to play off of. But I do like that on stage, being able to actually have a give and take with the other actors on stage, and I do miss that. But I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it, and I do feel like I'm, even though I can't do stage right now, I'm still keeping my chops up, so to speak, with the voice work. And I like the variety of it. I like the people that I work with. It's a different animal in a lot of ways, but there are some similarities too. It's a good thing. I'm really grateful for it. I got to say that.
So I think that's all of my questions, and I want to say thank you.
You bet.
Yep.
Somebody had a Samurai 7 question.
Yes. I wanted to ask you. You played Kanbei in Samurai 7. By any chance, did you see Akira Kurosawa's The Seven Samurai?
Oh, you bet.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent.
Oh yeah. I'd seen that at least a couple of times before I ever did the anime.
Oh, so when you got the role, were you
thrilled?
Happy?
Thrilled. And especially when I found out it was, it was an authorized version, anime version of the movie, authorized by the Kurosawa estate. He was long dead, but I'd seen that movie at least 2 or 3 times over the years, and was always I just sat there with my mouth open. I think that still, for my money, is easily one of the best 2 or 3 films in my pantheon of great movies, if not the greatest. It's such an incredible movie.
I highly recommend everyone sees it.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Oh my God. It's a different animal than movies that are made today. For one thing, it takes its time. It really takes its time to develop and get going. And I think the build-up is. I think probably a lot of young people today are certainly not used to that kind of movie making. But gosh, it's satisfying to watch. Oh, I think Kurosawa was a genius. I don't know if I've seen everything that he directed, but I know I've seen most of them. I've seen Yojimbo several times. What's it called? Shadow Warrior. I can't think of the name of it. I'm getting old. But oh God, see Kurosawa films. They're just incredible. And Seven Samurai is the greatest of them. Awesome movie.
Personal recommendation. I'm sensing here.
Write it down.
Definitely.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Seven Samurai, yes, I command thee. Go to Seven Samurai. And
Yojimbo.
And Yojimbo is a great movie. Yeah, absolutely.
He just got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the actor, just recently.
Oh,
I was like,
Toshiro Mifune? Toshiro Mifune. Oh, really? He just got one?
Yep.
Damn,
Mifune got it.
Long enough.
Yep, it was very long.
I just remember the name of the one I was trying to remember is Kagemusha. Kagemusha, the Shadow Warrior, is just brilliant. and it's like 3.5 hours, and you'll swear it went by in 20 minutes. It is, you just get sucked into that movie. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Incredible stuff. Yeah. Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
Oh,
I was thrilled. Of course, the anime is quite a bit different.
Maybe just a bit.
Needless to say, there were very few flying machines in the original, and
I don't think one of the Seven Samurai was a robot.
Yeah, no, almost none of them were robots. It's still faithful to the original in a lot of ways, and the characters are pretty faithful to the original guys.
Which one would you watch first? You watch the old movie first and then the anime?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Because as long as the movie is, it's like a fifth or a sixth as long as the whole series. So yeah. Oh yeah, watch the movie.
Well, I just found the movie on Hulu, so people know they can watch it on Hulu. So
it's available
and
on
I'll
Hulu.
tell you, I have never watched it on DVD. Although interestingly enough, I own it on DVD, and I've never watched it on DVD. I only saw it in the theater, and it is a big screen experience. If there is any possibility of getting to see it on the big screen, that's the best way to do it by far. Of course, these days people have huge TVs and
projectors and everything like that.
But all of my great movie experiences have been in the theater. I love to go to the movies, and I don't get to go as often as I used to. But
well, they're pretty fast about putting them on demand though now. So now they're out in the theaters, and a few months later they're on demand. So
yeah. But still, there's something different about watching it on TV in your living room and watching it in a theater with other people. It's
the popcorn, man. For me, it's the popcorn.
That's certainly part of it.
If you like the front row, the 3D glasses is downright amazing to me sometimes.
Yep. I hear you.
Like what was it? Yesterday I went to see the new X-Men, and the opening sequence was just pretty amazing.
That movie's supposed to be very good. I've heard very good things from the X-Men movie.
I liked it, but
I've heard good and bad.
It didn't make me cry. I'm not giving anything away, so I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, I think that's...
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, we kind of ended it just on time for you, too. So.
Yeah.
Did we? Okay. Oh, good.
Yes, sir. So,
is it
greatly
11? Yeah, just about.
Yep.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm really sorry that it took so long to get this done, but I'm sure glad that we finally got to do it.
Good things are worth waiting for, sir.
Exactly.
So good things are worth waiting for.
Before you
Good
leave,
things come to those who wait.
Glad to hear you say that, and thank you, Amy, for your help in making this happen.
Yes, much appreciated, Amy.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Matthew.
Oh, guys, I feel so loved.
Yeah. Oh, you are loved. You are loved. Don't worry.
Oh, stop.
So
My
think that
face
wraps.
is red.
Trying to think if I have any parting words of wisdom for you.
Oh, is there any work that you're
Anything you
working
wanna
on? Yeah, anything you're working on right now. So because Fairy Tale's on hiatus, you know, anything besides the Funimation subscription, which if you don't have it, you're missing out on a great thing in life. Let me tell you, a great thing in life.
I love the Funimation subscription. It's so cool.
The thing I've worked on most recently is Garo. Garo knows or other.
Garo
the animation?
Yeah.
And just did a little work on that for Caitlin Glass the other day.
Ooh.
probably say something about the Empire of Corpses. That's going to be coming out soon, isn't it?
Oh, hey. Oh, that was pretty cool. Yeah, they did did anybody see Empire of Corpses?
No, I haven't.
No.
I had word.
It played for two. The English played for 2 nights, and I think a total of 500 theaters across the country, which is not that many. I know I talked to Amy about it. There wasn't one that was anywhere near her.
All the thing that's like about an hour away.
Yeah, most of mine are an hour and 30 if I want to go see anime movies. So.
Well, usually I was kind of surprised because usually Celebration Cinema around here, they got the Dragon Ball Z movie and the Ghost in Shell movie, but they didn't get Empire of Corpses, and so I was like, wow.
Well, I think it can't be too long before they put that out on DVD. I think.
That's what I do.
Yeah, I think I saw pre-orders up for it.
It's worth seeing. It's worth seeing. I went with Mike, the director, and a bunch of the actors who were in it. We all went to one of the showings here in Dallas, and it was a lot of fun. I must admit, I had a little trouble following it. There's some logic lapses here and there, but after a while, you just kind of go, "Oh, what the hell? I don't care." It's cool to look at.
I think I read on the website that it's based on a book.
I have no idea. I'm not that I'm aware of, but you could be right.
So be on the lookout for that.
I'll look it up
very,
again.
very handsomely done. It's very handsomely done. And I just got to play this cool, living corpse character, all the one. And had this fun, deep, accented voice and they actually lowered it like a step or so and did a little bit of electronic games with it. It sounded really cool. I was kind of like, that's my voice? Cool. Love it. Fabulous. Thank you. More of that. Anyway. All right, gang. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you so much for all your time.
You bet. It was my pleasure. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your patience.
And feel
Thank
better.
you for being anime fans. Keep it up. And
feel better.
We'll see you on screen.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Later.
Okay. So long. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.